Hey everybody, my name is Pam. Welcome to my channel, For Goodness Keepsakes. Thank you for joining me, and today I want to show you how I'm making my crochet temperature blanket with these join as you go squares. Now what's really nice about this temperature blanket is that these squares are literally joined as you go. So as I'm making the squares, I'm joining them to the blanket. I don't have to sew them. It's worked in the final row of the square. And the result is a temperature blanket that only takes me about 6-7 minutes a day to make the square for, and I just do one each day. It's part of my morning routine. This year I opted to do blues and yellows, and I am just loving it. Now the pattern for this is in my Etsy shop, but I'm working on an Amazon book as well. You can order that gives you not just the patterns, but the log, the full blanket layout, and some of my helpful tips and tricks for staying committed to such a big project. I will put the link to any of these resources in the description box below. Now this tutorial is going to be for how to make one of these French squares, how to join them on one side, how to join them on two sides, how to make the heart square. Where's the heart one on here? I have a heart one on here. There's my heart. I'll show you how to make the heart square. And then I'm not done my blanket yet because it's only August 30th as of the date of me recording this. It's probably gonna be September before I post this video. But I don't have the border on here yet, but I've already developed the border pattern. It's in the pattern that you can purchase. So what I'm gonna do is make a swatch with you guys so I can show you how to make the squares, how to join the heart squares, how to join on two sides, one side, how just to make the plain square, ordinary square, and how to make the border. This is going to be the border that goes on my blanket, although I haven't decided yet what color I'm going to do. Probably white, although I think that's what I did last year. Maybe orange? I don't know. I really can't decide. What do you guys think should be the border color for my blanket come the end of the year? Also, if you want to follow my blanket progress, I post every time I finish a row or finish a month. I post on TikTok and on Instagram. My handle is Pamalami if you want to follow me and look for my blanket updates. But if you want to make one yourself, you don't have to wait until the start of the year. You can, but you don't have to wait until the start of the year to start a temperature blanket. You can start a temperature blanket any time of the year you want. And what's nice about the log is that while it says January, February, March, April, May, etc., you start anywhere in that log and work until you get back to the beginning. And so you could do a birthday to birthday, anniversary to anniversary, random day to random day. You pick and choose. When you are done with this particular pattern blanket, you'll end up with a throw size blanket that's approximately 50 by 70 inches-ish. I mean, this is what it is currently. I can't show you, it's too big. So this isn't like a ridiculously huge blanket, which a lot of crochet temperature blankets end up being, which is one nice thing about doing the squares. And to me, I find the squares very interesting to make as opposed to just doing boring rows. I'm sorry, I just can't commit to that. Like, that is so boring. So anyways, without further ado and rambling, because I'm good at that, let me show you how to make this temperature blanket. All right, so I'm gonna first show you how to make just the regular square, and you're going to need an H-hook for this whole project and worsted weight yarn. It happens that the three colors I grabbed from my small stash happen to all be Big Twist, which I think is really funny, but any kind of cheap worsted weight yarn will do just fine. I think I'll start with the greenish color. So to start, just the ordinary French square. Make a slip knot. I like to make my slip knot so that it is the working yarn that cinches the loop down and not the tail. And chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Into the first chain you made, which is the fourth chain from the hook, we're going to double crochet and chain 1 7 times. So this is the second time. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, whoop, chain 1. I hate when that happens. Sorry. And actually, I'm going to move you closer to me because I have a tendency to slowly bring it to myself. And yeah, anyways. So we're going to keep double crocheting in chain 1. And when we're done, we'll have 8 posts and 8 chain 1 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're doing this 7 times, and then including your chain, initial chain 4, you'll have 8 spokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to join not to the top of the chain we made, but to the second one. Whoop, just like that. And that's the end of row 1. Row 2, I'm not even going to chain 1. I'm just immediately going to go right into this chain 1 space to the left with a single crochet, chain 2, into the next chain 1 space with another single crochet, chain 4, into the same chain 1 space with a single crochet, chain 2, into the next space with a single crochet, chain 2, into the next space with a single crochet, chain 4, into the same space with a single crochet, chain 2, into the next space with a single crochet, chain 2, into the next space with a single crochet, chain 4. We're creating corners when we do these chain 4s. Back into that same space again with a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the next space, chain 2, single crochet in the next space. We're going to make our final corner, so chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet in the same space. Every time you do a chain 4 on the second row, you single crochet afterwards in the same space. Then chain 2 and join to the top of your single crochet. And that's the end of row 2. And you should have something that looks like that. Now for row 3, again, I'm just immediately going right into a single crochet. I don't chain 1. If you want to, you can. So I'm going into this chain 2 space here with a single crochet. And then I'm going to double crochet 3 times, chain 2, and double crochet 3 times, all into this corner chain 4 space. So start with 3 double crochets into that chain 4 space. Then chain 2, creates our new corner. Back into that space with 3 more double crochets. Now into the next chain 2 space here, we're going to put a single crochet, and then we're going to chain 5. Now we're going to go into the next chain 2 space with a single crochet, and now we're working another corner. So start with into this chain 4 space with 3 double crochet. Uh-oh, here comes my yarn. And then we're going to chain 2 and 3 more double crochet into that same space. 2, 3. Into this chain 2 space with a single crochet, chain 5. Into the next chain 2 space with a single crochet. Now we're working in the next corner. Start with 3 double crochet. By the way, if I'm going too fast, you can always slow the playback speed on YouTube. Chain 2, 1, 2, and then into that same space again with 3 more double crochet. Single crochet in the next chain 2 space, chain 5, single crochet in the next chain 2 space. Now working immediately into our next corner, which is our last corner, we're going to start with 3 double crochet. Then we're going to chain 2. Then we're going to do 3 double crochet again. Then we're going to single crochet in this last chain 2 space, chain 5, and join to the top of our first single crochet here. And then you can cut and tie. This is how you do just the square all by its lonesome. Which, if you are making the crochet temperature blanket, this is the only square you make where you're just working the square without joins. Important tip, if you're starting a blanket, and this is your first one, it doesn't matter which one, but pick a corner and put a stitch marker there, or if you don't have a stitch marker, a little scrap of yarn works. I used a scrap of yarn on mine, funny enough, but put it in the upper left hand corner. That way you don't get turned around and disoriented when you start working on it, because believe me, it's easy to happen. You start working and you don't remember, wait, was it this way or was it this way or was it this way? It's legit easy to get confused and turned around. So put a stitch marker there and leave it there until your project is complete. Now for me, because this is just a sample that I'm making and not an actual blanket, I don't need to do that. So I'm not going to keep a stitch marker on mine, but something you want to do if you are starting a blanket. Now, when you read the pattern, it says that when you do row 3 and you're joining, you're going to be replacing one of these chains in the corners and the middle, the third chain of the sides, with slip stitches to corresponding or adjacent squares you're joining to. So let me show you how to join to one side. For the record, if you're doing this, I highly recommend that as you go, that you thread in your tails, because it takes only about a minute really to fish these tails in when you're done. And that way at the end of the year, you don't have to spend 3 to 4 hours just weaving in ends, because that sounds honestly like a nightmare, and this doesn't take long. It really doesn't. There we go. Now let's move on to the next square. So for the next square, I'm going to use pink, and I'm going to show you how to join on one side. Now the first part of this pattern is going to be redundant because it's the only time things change up is when you start doing the third row. So the first 2 rows are the same. So we're going to start with a slip knot and a chain 4. And again, go into this first chain you made, or the 4th chain from the hook, with a double crochet chain 1 and do that 7 times. After you've done it 7 times, you should have 8 spokes. So you're going to join to the, not the top chain, but the 2nd chain from the top. Then we're going to immediately just single crochet right into this chain 1 space here, chain 2, single crochet in the next space, chain 4, single crochet in the same space, because every time you do a chain 4, you single crochet in the same space. Chain 2, go in the next space with a single crochet, chain 2 into the next space with a single crochet, chain 4, and guess what? Into the same space with a single crochet. So it's 2, 2, 4, 2, single crochet in the next, whoops, dropped it, 2, single crochet in the next, and then 4, and single crochet in the same. Again, 2 chains, single crochet in the next space, 2 chains, single crochet in the next space, 4 chains, single crochet in the same space, and then chain 2 and join to the top of your first single crochet, which is right here. Now's where things start to get a little bit different. We're going to start, whenever I'm joining to one side, this is how to join to one side. Start as usual, single crochet in that chain 2 space and work your first corner, which is double crochet 3 times, 2, 3, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets in that same space. Then single crochet in the next chain 2 space, chain 5, single crochet in the same space. Now you'll notice we've worked the first corner and the first side. We're now going to work the second corner. So 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and then we're going to work on the second side. So single crochet into the chain 2 space, and then chain 5, and then single crochet again in that chain 2 space. Now we have one more full side before we get back to where we started. This is only like half a side. So it's when you begin your third corner that when you're joining to one side, you join. So we're going to work the first half of this corner, and that is at least the 3 double crochets part. So double crochet 3 times into your third corner. And then pick whichever corner you feel like joining to in your previous square. Insert your hook, yarn over, and do a slip knot, or slip stitch, I'm sorry, and then chain 1. Now we're going to finish this corner with the 3 double crochets. You'll see instead of chain 2, we did a slip stitch chain 1. Now we're going to single crochet in this next space, and instead of a chain 5, like the instructions say, you're going to replace the third chain with a slip stitch to the side of the square that we're joining to. So chain just 2 instead of 5. Go into this side space here, front to back, yarn over, and slip stitch. That counts as our third chain, but it's a slip stitch instead to join. Now we're going to chain 2, and that's collectively as if we would have chained 5. Now we're going to go into our next chain 2 space with a single crochet, and we're going to start the first half of the final corner. So 3 double crochet, and into the corresponding corner we're joining to, we're going to insert our hook front to back, yarn over, and do a slip stitch and a chain 1. Then we're going to complete the square. So finish the corner with 3 double crochets, slip stitch into, or I'm sorry, single crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 5, and then you're going to join to the top of the first single crochet for that row. And that's it. Then you can just cut, tie, and weave in your ends. So it's better, in my opinion, to wait. I mean, you could technically join on any full side when you're working these squares up, but it's my opinion that it's easier to save the joining for as last as possible, if that makes sense. Like I picked the last side rather than the first side, because that way I don't have my project hanging off while I'm working on it. When you're working on a temperature blanket, your entire first row, with the exception of the very first square, is going to be joined on only one side. So it's kind of a nice, easy start to your project. Not quite so overwhelming, right? And then as you start to get the hang of that, when you begin your second row of squares, which would be on day 17, you would actually start the next row and every subsequent row with only joining on one side, because you're just joining to the underneath of the first square, and it's the second square of the next row that you begin joining on 2 sides. So for this sample swatch, because I want to be able to show you how to make the border, I'm going to actually make it 3 blocks by 3 blocks so that you can get a good solid idea of what the border should look like. But there is the second square joined. There is the third square. Now I'm actually going to show you how to do a heart square. I'm going to start a next row, which means I'm going to join the heart square to one side. And this is why it's important to pay attention because when it comes to the heart square, you want to make sure you join it upright. The heart square, I'm going to make the heart pink and the square itself gray. So I'll have gray starting back over again. Start with a slip knot and do chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to slip stitch to the first chain to form a ring. Then we're going to chain 2. And we're going to double crochet into this ring 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to half double crochet 2 times into the ring. 1, 2. Then we're going to double crochet into the ring. Then we're going to triple crochet into the ring. So yarn over twice, go into the ring. Some people call it treble crochet, I think. Then we're going to double crochet. Then we're going to half double crochet twice. We're forming the other half of the heart. I keep pushing my stitches down out of the way so that I have space, and then I'm going to double crochet 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then chain 2 and slip stitch to the center ring, and you can cut and tie. And I'm lazy, so I'm not going to fish these tails in. I'm just going to trim them kind of short. I just tied the starting knot with the end knot kind of tight. And so there's the heart. Huzzah, a heart. Now we're going to turn it into a French square. So now let me show you how to join it on one side. So get your other color. If you're doing a temperature blanket, you can make a little heart to commemorate a special day, a birthday, an anniversary, the passing of a loved one, whatever you would like. I actually did one for the day my grandmother passed away, as a sort of memento to her in her favorite color. And then I did the temperature color around the heart. So you're going to start by joining to the treble crochet or triple crochet on the bottom of the heart. So the stitch all the way on the very bottom, you're going to join to that with a single crochet. Then you're going to chain 1, double crochet in the next stitch, chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch. Now you have a corner, chain 1, skip a stitch and single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch and single crochet, chain 3, single crochet into the same stitch, chain 1, double crochet into the ring in between these heart bumps. So go in between the heart bumps with a double crochet right into the center ring, chain 1. Now we're going to basically be repeating this on the other side in reverse. So not into the chain 2, but into the top of this first double crochet here, we're going to put a single crochet, chain 3, single crochet in the same stitch again, chain 1, skip a stitch and single crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip a stitch and double crochet in the next stitch, chain 2 forms another corner, double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, and join to the top of your first single crochet. Now we have framed in the heart, and you'll see we are starting our third row on the bottom, and our third row is going to utilize all these chain 1 spaces and chain 2 or 3 spaces as our sides and corners. So you would do your corner here, single crochet there, chain 5, single crochet, work a corner, etc. So let's do that together. So we're just going to immediately go right into this chain 1 space here with a single crochet, and then start working our corner just like on a normal square. So we're going to put 3 double crochets here, chain 2, 3 double crochets, now into the next chain space we're going to single crochet, chain 5, and single crochet in the next chain space, just like on our normal square. Now because this is a heart square, even though we're only joining to... You need diaper? Yeah. Whoops, one moment. Sorry about that. Now my hands smell like lemony citrus. Anyways, now since we have our heart oriented this way and we want it to be upright, we're going to start joining on this next corner, the second corner. So we're going to put 3 double crochets into the second corner, and then we're going to begin our joining. So we want it to sit like this, right? So we want to join to this corner. So insert your hook front to back and slip stitch, chain 1, and then finish that corner with 3 more double crochets. And just like normal, we're going to single crochet into the next chain space, and then chain 2 instead of 5, because we're going to replace the middle chain, the chain 3, with a slip stitch to the corresponding side here. So we're going to insert our hook into this side, front to back, slip stitch, chain 2 again, go into this next chain space with a single crochet, and we're going to work our third corner, so 3 double crochets into this space here. Then we're going to insert our hook front to back into the corresponding corner on the square we're joining to with a slip stitch, chain 1, and now we're just going to finish the square like normal, except there's a heart on it. So we're going to put 3 double crochets in this space. We're going to single crochet in the next space, chain 5, single crochet in the next space, double crochet 3 times into this, for what's going to be the final corner, into this space, chain 2 to form the new corner, 3 double crochets into the same space, then we're going to single crochet into this next space here, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to slip stitch to join to the top of that first single crochet, and then that's it. We can cut and tie. A really cute way to commemorate a special day. I meant to do my kids' birthdays this year on my temperature blanket, and plumb forgot. You know, I'm going to be different and use my regular needle. So now we are ready to show you how to join to 2 sides. And I think, yeah, we're going to have to do it with green. So just because it's all going to start the same, but let's do it together anyways. Start your next square by doing a chain 4, and then into the first chain you made, double crochet, chain 1 7 times. And then join not to the top chain, but to the second chain from the top. Second row, go right into that space immediately with a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the next space, chain 4, single crochet in the same space, chain 2, go into the next space, chain 2, next space, chain 4, same space, chain 2, next space, chain 2, next space, chain 4, same space, chain 2, next space, chain 2, next space, chain 4, same space, chain 2, join to the top of your first single crochet. See, just like that, we're ready to start. And we're only like not even 2 minutes into this square, and we're ready to join on 2 sides. Now, when joining on 2 sides, I typically do the first corner and first side, and then start joining at the second corner. So, single crochet into this first space, then do your first corner, so 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet into that same space to finish your corner. Then to work your side, you're going to single crochet in the next space, chain 5, single crochet in the next space, and now we're ready to start joining, because we have to do it this way. I mean, you could technically start joining here, but to me it doesn't make sense to do that. So to me it makes more sense to do your first corner, first side, and then you're joining the second corner, the second side, the third corner to these 2 squares, the third side, the fourth corner, and then finishing. So let's do the first half of the second corner together. So double crochet 3 times into this space. Make sure you're joining to the right side of the square above. Up here, insert your hook front to back into the right side of the bottom of the square above. Do a slip stitch and a chain 1, and then 3 double crochets to finish this corner. Then we're going to start the next side with a single crochet in the next space, chain 2, and just like with joining to one side, we're going to insert our hook front to back to the middle of the side with a slip stitch, do another chain 2, and single crochet into the next space. Now for this inner corner, you're not going to have any chains because you're replacing both chains of the corner with slip stitches. So do the first 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and I'll just warn you, try not to join to this corner like diagonal square. Join to the square above and the square beside. So start with the square above, insert your hook into this bottom corner here, front to back, drop a loop, and slip. And then it helps if you turn your work. Insert your hook into the upper right corner of the square beside it, front to back, yarn over, slip stitch. And now it feels awkward, but you can do it. Finish your 3 double crochets. The first one might feel a little awkward, but then it'll feel fine. So do your 3 double crochets for this corner. See? Now we're going to single crochet in the next space, chain 2, and slip stitch to the side of the square beside it. Then we're going to chain 2, single crochet into the next chain space, and we're going to work the final corner. So start with your 3 double crochets. Then we're going to slip stitch to the corner, the final corner, chain 1, and finish the square. So 3 more double crochets into this space. Single crochet into the next space, chain 5. Then you're going to slip stitch to the first single crochet you made to join, and cut and tie. And so what's nice about that is you can join without having to sew a whole bunch of stuff when you're done. And there we go. Now I'm going to show you how to join the heart square on 2 sides. Because my final square is going to be trimmed in pink, I think I'm going to make the inside heart green. So I'll just keep using this green. The heart is exactly the same as before. So start with a chain 4. Slip stitch to the first chain to form a ring, chain 2, and working into the ring, double crochet 3 times, then half double crochet twice, then double crochet, then triple crochet, then double crochet again. By this point I like to take all my stitches and kind of shove them over so I have room. Half double crochet twice, and then double crochet 3 times. And by the way, this little heart just on its own is like a really fun little accessory to add to things like bows and cards and things. Then chain 2 and slip stitch to the center ring to join, cut and tie. Whoops. So there's our little green heart. Let's start working on the outside of it. So I've got a slip knot here with my pink, and I'm just going to go into the treble crochet or triple crochet, basically the very bottom stitch of the heart. And I'm just going to go right on in there with a single crochet. Then I'm going to chain 1 and double crochet in the next stitch, chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip a stitch and single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet in the same stitch, chain 1, double crochet into that ring of the heart, which can get kind of tricky if you want to try to keep things really tight. So yeah, And I like to try to make sure the heart's not getting sucked into it. Chain 1. And then going into the top of this double crochet here, not the chains, but the double crochet, go in there with a single crochet. Chain 3. Single crochet in the same stitch. Chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and double crochet. Chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, join to the top of your first single crochet. That sets up the base for our next square. The nice part is that this joins to the two sides just like this one does. So you do the first corner, the first side, and you begin joining at the second corner. So let's do the first corner together. We're just going to go right into this next space to the left with a single crochet, and then start into the next space with double crochet 3 times, chain 2, double crochet 3 times again, there's our first corner. Now to do the first side, single crochet in the next space, chain 5, single crochet in the next space. Now we're going to start the next corner, and that's going to be the corner we start to join. So because this is the corner we're going to start joining in, we're going to join to this bottom right corner of the square above. It helps if you just hold the square where you want it to see where you need to start. So do the first half of your corner, so 3 double crochets. Then we're going to insert the hook into the corresponding place we're joining, front to back, and slip stitch, chain 1, and finish the corner with 3 double crochets. Then we're going to single crochet in the next space because we're starting the second side, chain 2, go into the corresponding side, insert your hook front to back with a slip stitch, chain 2, single crochet into this space here. Now we're going to do the corner where we're joining to 2 sides, the top and the left. So start with your first 3 double crochets. Now we're going to slip stitch to the bottom left of the square above, inserting your hook front to back, and the top right of the square to the left, inserting your hook front to back. And then finish this corner with 3 double crochets. Try to make sure your first double crochet when you work those 2 corners doesn't get too loose on you. Then single crochet into the next space, chain 2, and insert your hook front to back on the corresponding side and slip stitch to join. Chain 2, single crochet in the next space. Now we're going to work the final corner, so do your first 3 double crochets. Insert your hook into this corresponding corner front to back with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then do your last 3 double crochets for that corner. Single crochet in the next space, chain 5, whoops, and then join to your first single crochet, just like that. Cut, tie, weave in your ends. That's how you join the heart square. It's literally just like the normal square, except you're doing a heart first, then you're doing your setup, and then you're going in with your joins, but your joins are done exactly like a normal square. So remember, you're going to be joining to the bottom of the next row with just one side, and then your next 2 squares are going to be joined on 2 sides. I'm going to finish these squares, and then I'm going to show you how to make the border of this blanket, which this isn't a blanket, but I'm doing 3 by 3, so I have a distinct side and a distinct corner to work with, so you can kind of get a better idea of what it's like, because my blanket isn't done yet, at least as of the time of me making this video. So I got all these squares done, and I couldn't pick which one of these 3 colors to make the border, so I decided to do purple. So I'm going to make the border purple. It might be a little bit easier for you to follow anyways. Now, here's why this is important. In order for the pattern for the border to make sense, it tells you to join to start by joining to one of the left corner spaces of any squares along the side of the blanket. So when you have a blanket, you have a bunch of squares along the side, and this square would be considered a corner, this one's a corner, this one's a corner, and this one's a corner, which means I only have on this little sample 4 side squares, which is why I couldn't do a 2x2 swatch, because those are all corners. I needed a side, so I did a 3x3 swatch. Border is only 2 rows. It's really simple. I think it adds a really nice, elegant touch. It's not super thick. It should work up pretty quick. So we're going to start by making a slip knot in our color for the border, which, by the way, if you're making the blanket and you have those extra squares at the bottom and you don't know what color to make them, you can opt to make those squares the same color as the border. That's up to you, just some food for thought. And so it says to join to one of the left corner spaces of the side square. So here's a side square here, because it's my only side square on this side. The left corner space. That's right here in this hole right there. So we're going to join to that hole right there. So it says join, chain 1, and single crochet into that space. So you can either join and then chain 1 and single crochet, or what I tend to do is just work the very first single crochet just like that. So single crochet into that left corner space of any one of the side squares. Then what you're going to do is really easy. You're going to chain 3 and single crochet into pretty much every single one of the gaps going around the blanket, but when you get to a corner, you're going to be doing chain 4 instead of chain 3. We're just going to chain 3. And in this case, the next one is this corner here. I'm going to single crochet into there. Chain 3, single crochet into the side. Chain 3. Now I'm at a corner, so I'm going to single crochet into this corner, and then I'm going to chain 4 instead of 3, and single crochet in that same space again to create my corner. Now I'm going to go back to doing chain 3, and single crochet in the next one, which is the center here. Chain 3, single crochet into this corner. Chain 3, single crochet into the next corner right next to it. Try not to work in between the squares, just into the corners of the squares. Chain 3. Why is it so dark now? My sun disappeared. I moved my curtain because I had harsh sunlight, and then my sun disappeared. Probably going to pop back out now that I move the curtain. Single crochet into the next space, chain 3, single crochet into the next space, chain 3, single crochet in the next space, chain 3, single crochet in the next space, chain 3. Now, by the way, if you look, this almost looks like it's puckering a little, but it is laying flat. It does lay flat easily and without a lot of force or effort. See, here comes the harsh sunlight again. What on earth? But if you have tight tension and you find that this is not easily laying flat and it wants to just curl up really bad and kind of bowl on you, then switch from chain 3 to chain 4. So anyhow, going into the corner with a single crochet, and because we're in a corner, we're going to do a chain 4 instead of a chain 3, and single crochet in that same space again. Now again, chain 3, the next space is the center, chain 3, the next space is a corner, chain 3, the next space is the next corner, chain 3, the next space is the side. So it should be side, corner, corner, side, corner, corner, until you get to a corner, like corner. So chain 3, go into the corner here, chain 3, into the next corner, chain 3, into the next corner. Oh, wait, that's not a corner, that's a side. Chain 3. Now we're reaching the actual corner of the blanket itself, or in this case, the sample swatch. So we're going to chain 4 instead of 3, and then single crochet in that same space again, before chaining 3 and just continuing with this chain 3 single crochet. And we're going to finish doing this all the way around. Chain 3, go into this corner. Again, try to resist the urge to work between the squares. You want to work only into the squares. Chain 3, and every time you go to single crochet in those spaces, you're just going to put a chain 3 in between. It's really simple. I tried to make it really simple so that I could kind of like almost mindlessly make the border, because when you're doing this on a much bigger blanket, you know, it's a lot. The only problem is making sure you don't accidentally skip the corner, because you have 2 corners side by side right there. Work into the corner, chain 3, and now I've got another hard corner here, so I'm going to put chain 4 and work in the same space again. Chain 3, working into the side, chain 3, working into a side corner, chain 3, working into, whoa, I'm stuck though, working into another side corner, not a corner but side corner, chain 3, into the side, chain 3, and you'll see I'm back to where I started here. So I'm going to join to the top of this single crochet here. Now, see how this wants to curl up? I'm not worried about it though, because if I stretch it and leave it, it actually does lay flat. So once I put a bunch of stitches into this, it should be fine. Row 2, we're going to begin by slip stitching into the chain 3 space on the right. Oh, I know why I'm confused, because my border pattern is stupid. Because I accidentally started my border pattern, the written one says to join here and start like that, and in my picture it starts on the other side, so I need to fix that. So you're going to slip stitch over, chain 1 and single crochet into the top of this bump. And then we're going to immediately start working into the next space. The pattern says, if you have the old pattern, it says chain 3 and it counts as the first double crochet. It's assuming you're starting in this space, but if you're starting where you're supposed to start and you have the new pattern, it will tell you to chain 1 and single crochet in that space instead. So I apologize about that, the pattern issue, because that was stupidity on my part. My graph, my diagram is literally different than the written pattern. The pattern is the same for both, but how it starts is different because the diagram starts in a different place than on the written pattern. And so if you get this pattern off of Etsy or Amazon after this date, you'll have the amended pattern. If you got the old pattern with the diagram error, email me at pam@forgoodness-keepsakes. I will send you the updated PDF. Working around the blanket, you're going to be putting single crochets here in these spaces in between the square. So every time you get into a space in between the square, that chain 3 bump is going to get a single crochet. The subsequent spot, each of these gaps along the sides of every single one of these squares is going to get 5 double crochets in each section. So double crochet 5 times. 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1. Then we're going to put 5 double crochets in this side too. So in this gap, in this chain 3 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you'll repeat that pattern down the side until you get to a corner. In my case, I'm immediately getting to a corner because I've just got a corner. The corners are worked exactly the same as in row 1. So you're going to single crochet, you're going to chain 4, and then single crochet in that same space again. Whoopsies, I dropped the loop. Again, 5 double crochet, 5 double crochet, single crochet. 5, 5, single. 5, 5, and then work your corner. So every time you're working along the side chain 3s of the squares, into these gaps you're going to put 5 double crochets in each one. So 5 double crochets in this one, 4, 5, whoops. And then 5 double crochets into the next one. and then single crochet into this space that's in between the squares. Now here's an optional tidbit that you'll see on the graph. It's entirely up to you, but you can actually add a chain 3 picot here on top of here. You don't have to, because I honestly think it looks pretty good without, but for this example I'm going to do it just so you know how to. So you can either start with the 5 double crochet and just continue, or you can do the chain 3 picot. So you can do a chain 3 and then go back into your single crochet stitch with a slip stitch, and there's your picot. Now we're going to continue with the 5 double crochet. Five in the first side, 5 again in the next half. Then into this space that's in between the squares, we're going to single crochet, chain 3 picot, and then start our 5 double crochets again. So there's 5 in this one, then 5 in this one, so we're going to work the corner just like before, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, all into that same space. When you're working the side of the square, 5 double crochet, 5 double crochet. When you get in between squares, just a single crochet or a single crochet with a picot, your choice. I think it looks good both ways. So here's 5 double crochet into this space. Five double crochet into the next space. Single crochet, chain 3 picot, and then we can continue with 5 double crochet in each of the next 2 chain 3 spaces. And then into the corner, just like always, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, and then continue with 5 double crochets in the side. And then 5 in the next one. So then in between the squares, you're going to do the single crochet and either keep going or you can do the chain 3 picot. I'm going to keep doing the chain 3 picot. I think it adds a nice little frill, I guess. I guess it's kind of a matter of, are you going for more simple or are you going for more foo-foo-y? I'm going to open this back up. Nope, sunlight's still harsh. There we go. At least I got a little more light. And then into this side, in between the corner, in between the squares, we're going to do a single crochet, chain 3 picot, and then continue with 5 double crochets in each of the next 2 chain 3 spaces. We've gotten to a corner, so same thing as the last row, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, and then go into your double crochet 5 times. Five times into the next space. Then we're going to single crochet, chain 3 picot. I just realized something though. I did my first single crochet without a chain 3 picot, so I'm going to have to try to like put a chain 3 picot on it as I come back to the beginning again. So as I'm ending, if I did this right, I will end with 5 double crochets in this space, 5 double crochets in the next space, and a join to the first single crochet, which mine doesn't have a chain 3 picot, so I have to do a picot on it. So 3, 4, and 5, and you can see I'm back where I started. Whoopsies. So what I'm going to do, because I forgot the picot, is I'm going to join to the first single crochet, and see, that's what it would look like without the picot. Okay, that's not very helpful, is it? Because that loop is there. See, it would just look like an ordinary bump. The chain 3 picot adds that little something in between the bumps. So I actually really like it both ways. And that's actually my dilemma for this, because I'm currently working on this project for my blanket this year. And I don't know if I'm going to be putting the picots on the border or not. But I'm going to add a picot to this one. But that's it. So it might curl up a little bit, but it will relax. I find that the border kind of helps give the blanket, or in this case swatch, some structure. Let me tie this back because it's going to drive me nuts till I do. Look at that. If you want this to lay nicely, if it puckers up a little bit, steaming it, I usually steam. You can block it, but if you have a whole big blanket, I don't see how you're supposed to do that. It will just relax on its own over time, but if you want to expedite that, you can steam it. So that's how you do the border. Now I don't know what to do with this thing though. So, you know, that's all there really is to it. It's really not that bad. What's nice about the blanket is that as you're making it, like, you kind of get used to making the square, and then the more difficult, the more challenging aspects of making the blanket come as you already get familiar with the pattern. So that's really nice. I am going to be making another video, Lord willing, for the mini granny square version, because yes, I made a mini granny square for my 2022 temperature blanket, which is my first attempt at a temperature blanket, and it turned out great. And that pattern's also in my Etsy shop along with this one. And again, if I get that Amazon book thing figured out, that link will end up in the description box below, so you don't have to print anything out. You can actually order it. But that's assuming it turns out all right. I'm still waiting on my author copy to verify that that's actually okay. And if it turns out all right, the link will be in the description box. If you don't see it, it's probably because it didn't turn out good. I really don't know. I wanted to put the link to this video in the book, so I can't tell you ahead of time if it's gonna work, because I don't know until I do this and then I post it. And yeah, anyways. So if you have any questions, let me know, throw them in the comments. Let me know what border color you think I should do for this blanket. Somebody mentioned that my crochet temperature blanket is like, looks a lot like Van Gogh's Starry Night, which I'm like obsessed with. That's probably one of my favorite paintings, which is probably why I'm obsessed with these color combinations. I can't talk to save my life, so I should probably just shut up. So thank you so much for watching. Again, post any comments or questions, in the comments section below. Yes, yeah, I can't talk. And have a blessed day.